To begin the hand washing technique lab, I have gotten the tools that I need for the lab, and I've separated them into no wash, quick wash, and good wash sections or groups. So the first thing I'm going to do is take a quarter sized dollop from the glow germ gel onto my hands. Alright. And I'm going to spread them around my hands, around my fingernails. And now I'm going to take a transfer pipette in the no wash section and take 3 milliliters of water. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the second tube. Alright, now I'm going to take the ultraviolet light and we're going to be turning the lights off. So now we are going to examine the work area with the lights off, and the first note of contamination are my hands. Both of my hands are completely covered with the glow germ, and especially in between the fingers. The next area is on the pipette. You can really see a lot of, it's very, very contaminated. And then the tubes, it looks like I got all over this tube. And the second tube is also all over, and it's also in the actual box as well. And I have not gotten any on me as far as I know. Okay. Now I'll be demonstrating a quick wash that people normally do throughout their day. Alright, now for the second part, I'm going to be doing the quick wash. And I'm going to add 3 milliliters in each tube. Alright, and now in just a moment we're going to be turning the lights off and examining the contamination area. Alright, now after the quick wash and putting the water in, we're now examining, and one of the very first parts of examination or contamination is on my hand, definitely around the wrist and in between the fingers a little bit, but mainly there's a lot on the beds of my fingernails, and also with the other hand, same thing, there's a lot around my wrists, and this one especially up on the knuckles, and again on the fingernail beds. Alright, so on the pipette, it doesn't look like there's a lot, but there's definitely still some. It's not, I see very few specks of contamination, but there's also, if you look down here, there's some more specks of contamination here. And on the tubes, we have definitely, there's still some. Let's see if we can get a good light showing. Yeah, so there you can see where I held it. You can definitely see some of the spots I held the tube. And on the second tube, this one also, again, there's definitely some spots on the tube that you can really tell that I touched. And it looks like there are a few spots on the tube rack as well. Alright, now we just did the quick wash, and because I came in here and washed my hands, we're now going to see the points of contamination. So now I'm going to turn the lights off, and as you can see, there are some spots around this area that are glowing. And then down here, we also have all over the sink, there's lots. Definitely on the handle of the sink and on the soap dispenser, and a lot right here, and definitely in the sink. There's lots of places in the sink. And not only that, but I also reached over to get a paper towel, and so it actually got on my toilet as well. And it's definitely all over these towels down here. I don't know if you can quite see that, but there are lots of places all over the paper towels. Now I'm going to be demonstrating a washing technique, which starts with me with my hands over, and before I even turn the sink on, I'm going to be using paper towels to be turning them on. Wash my hands, get them wet with my fingers pointed downward. Now I'm going to use another paper towel to get soap. And while my hands are pointed downwards, I'm going to massage the soap thoroughly. And I'm going to get the back of my hands and in between my fingers. And this is where I'm going to be actually using a brush to get in between each nail bed. Okay. And I'm going to rinse really well from the wrist down. And I'm going to use another paper towel to turn, or actually I'm going to dry my hands down, wrist down. And then I'm now going to turn the sink off with the same paper towel. So now I did my thorough cleaning. Now we're going to actually see how much I got off. So I did not get the wrists very well. There's a little bit on that pinky nail bed and a little bit on this nail bed too. So I need to scrub more on the nail beds, more so. Definitely, again, around the wrist. And then I'm going to definitely get more around the knuckles on this hand. This hand needs a lot more of the knuckles. See, there's a lot on this knuckle too. And again, with the nail beds and the wrists. Yeah, especially right there. So as I do this, I'm also going to be looking around my area too, because there is a lot of glow germ everywhere, I need to also clean this until there are no longer any traces of the glow germ. Now I'm going to use a paper towel to turn the water off and dry from my wrists down. And looks like they are now all clean. Alright, this is part 4 for the good wash. I am now putting on some of the glow germ. a lot, an accident. But here we go. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to be doing a good wash, as described in part 3, which I showed in the previous section. So now I'm going to turn the sink on without touching the faucet. And pointing my hands downward. I'm also going to be using another separate paper towel to get my soap. And definitely going to lather up Okay, I'm going to wash this off. And I'm going to just definitely make sure I get my wrists really well. And now I'm going to turn this off and dry my hands wrist down. And now we are going to be going into the other room and doing the next part of the experiment. Alright, now I'm going to begin the good wash with the same thing as the other two, but now I'm going to be doing it with a good wash. I have 3 milliliters of tap water in each. Alright, now we will be turning the light off and examining the contamination. Alright, to see the contamination, we're using the ultraviolet light again, and it looks like there is not much, but there actually is just a few dots of contamination on this pipette. And then onto the tubes. Doesn't look like there is much, but there is a little bit of the glow germ on these. Let's look at the second one. Second one, again, very, very little bit. And it doesn't look like there's any actually on the rack. Doesn't look like there's anything. And then it doesn't look like there's anything else on the table. But I do actually have some on my apron. And there actually is just a little bit in my hands, but compared to the other two, there is an extremely less amount. That looks like that's about it.